What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And in this video here, what I want to talk to you about is letting things go when they're not working for you. So many times growing my clothing brand, I had products that I loved that just weren't really selling that well through my website. And I tried everything I could to get them to sell for me. And to be honest, I waited way too long before pulling the trigger to get rid of those products and to move on to bigger and better things. And I want to talk to you about how I look at this and how you should be looking at this inside of your own clothing brand to just maximize the potential of your clothing brand and get to the highest level possible. My buds over at DesignCrowd sponsor this channel, and if designs are something that you struggle with, then I really recommend that you use them for the designs of your clothing brand. You post a project on DesignCrowd, amazing designers from all around the world compete for your project. All you have to do is choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. This is the best-selling design on my website, and I got the design made through DesignCrowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you where you can save up to $100, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on DesignCrowd. All right, so I'm about to come out with a huge spring/summer launch for my clothing brand. And I'm coming out with so many new products and discontinuing so many of my old products that weren't selling that it got me thinking about the practicality of change inside of your clothing brand. And there are so many products that I've had running inside of my clothing brand for the longest time because I've been trying to force them to work. And this summer, when I'm launching my new products, I said, screw it. Anything that's not selling really well, anything that's not moving that my audience doesn't really like, I'm gonna stop trying to force this down their throat. I'm just gonna discontinue them, look at what's working, and try and come out with more products like that. The thing that I'd like to get across in this video is that it's really effective to let go of old mindsets, old products that weren't selling, old strategies that weren't working. All of these things that we get attached to, we habitualize within ourselves and our whole process. And it's important to just assess these things with an open mind and say, are they really working for us? Are they fully optimized? Is it what's really going to get my clothing brand to the next level? Is it what's really gonna push me forward? And there's a great saying, which is, what got you here won't get you there. And there's a lot of things that I was doing at the beginning that did somewhat well for me. I mean, a lot of the products that I'm discontinuing have sold to customers in the past. And it's actually what got my clothing brand sort of off the ground a bit. But as I released new products after that, I realized that those new products sold, 3 or 4 times better than those old products. And there was no point keeping around those old products because I'd gained a new perspective since releasing the new products. And since I'd gained that new perspective, there's no point in holding on to the old ideas that I had about how my clothing brand needed to be and how I wanted it to look. If things are going better with the new things that I've released and the sort of movements forward, then it's time to let go of the old strategies. It's time to let go of the old brand that you've created and evolve. It's almost like how bugs have that shell around them. And then in order to evolve, they kind of just let go of that shell and they evolve into a newer version of themselves. That's basically what's happening, is you're letting go of those pieces of your brand that are sort of holding you back and dragging you down. And it just allows you to shoot forward and just enter into a state where you're completely thriving as a clothing brand. And the same thing happens with your marketing strategy. There were so many things that, I did at the beginning, growing my clothing brand, that were absolutely necessary for me to do at the beginning. But you reach a certain point where you try out different strategies on top of that, because you're now leveraging the initial things that you did. And it's okay to let go of some of those things that you were doing in the beginning phase, because maybe now you've entered into a new phase where it's time to scale up. Same thing can be said about your mindset. At the beginning, a lot of my mindset was extreme. I had to work all the time. That's all that I was thinking about, was just work. And everything was about hard work. As I've grown my business, I've realized that a lot more needs to be put on the accuracy of the strategies and the effectiveness of the strategies and how smart you're thinking about your brand. And it's not necessarily about all of the time that you log into your brand, but it's also, and almost more importantly, about the quality of the strategy that you're putting in place. And so all of these things have a utility benefit to you at a certain point along your journey. And it's important to just be open enough to consider letting these things go. I'm coming out with close to 20 new products this summer, and I'm discontinuing close to the same amount. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I've seen what's worked for my clothing brand, and I've seen what's kind of been dragging the clothing brand, and I don't want to be emotionally attached to any of it. I want to let go of what's not working. And honestly, if you looked at my clothing brand back when we first started to who my clothing brand is now and what it looks like now, it literally looks like a completely different brand. And that's a beautiful process because you're just growing and you're learning and you're shedding what's not working and you're just sharpening the sword like that. And that's what your brand should look like as it grows. It shouldn't look the exact same as, the day that you started for, 10 years. You want to be growing, you want to be evolving and improving. And a part of that improving is letting go of the things that aren't working and evolving into something completely new. One of the things that I really love about talking to clothing brand owners through this YouTube channel is that I can assume you're a creative mind. I can assume that you're open-minded. It's very similar to people who are in music, right? You can just assume that they're more creative than they are, invested in mathematics and science and things like that. And the best part about creatives, and I assume that I'm talking to one right now, is that you're open-minded. You're open to these things. And this character trait, the personality trait of being open, is absolutely essential in order for you to grow and evolve into, the highest potential of your clothing brand. And so you always want to be looking for the next paradigm, the next step to jump to so that you can let go of that old step. And, this gets really deep here, but I do that with myself. I do that in the style of communicating here. I remember when I first started shooting these videos, I was kind of a perfectionist, and that helped me at the time because it got me better at speaking. It got me more precise with the words that I was saying. Then I reached a point where I was such a perfectionist that I was hanging on to every single word that I said, and I couldn't just let go. Now that I've been doing this for a long time, I had to realize that sometimes it's okay to fumble a word or whatever in order to get the message across. And actually, that comes across clearer to you and actually more genuine a lot of times. And so it's about evolving through these stages, and it's a beautiful process because you're going to notice that there's just endless amounts of paradigms that you can keep evolving through. And I suggest that you do that for your clothing brand in order to, just get to the next level. And I think that will really help. If you got a lot of value out of this video, please hit the like button for me. It helps me get these videos out there. And let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have for apparel success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.